good day. As everybody knows, this is 9/11. But as we speak, welcome to the Parts Unknown, the Clem and Claus Show. My partner in crime, Mr. Claus Webb, second and fourth Mondays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 Central Time. You know the rest. I don't need to say anymore. You should know it by now. We've been doing this for 3 years. With that being said, how'd your weekend go, man? I know everybody's tired. We can tell the truth.
Very draining. At first, my weekend was going to be completely free of work, but I was able to find some work last minute, so it took me throughout the whole weekend. So usually Monday's my recovery day, trying to recover, and had like 4 straight days of work. So it was a lot.
Like I said, we'll talk a little bit more. As everybody knows, and I said it at the top, this is 9/11, 22 years
Mm.
later.
Yeah, I'm usually kind of melancholy on this day because of that.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
um, yeah, just today, man, I just felt blah. I just felt blah.
You're not the only one. I felt the same.
Yeah, just the people
I
that
felt no,
lost their
yeah,
lives.
I didn't feel no emotion. I was like, blah. I don't know. I felt no energy. I don't know.
Yeah, and just
It was just
yeah,
flat for me. At work, even at the house right now, just flat. I'm not going to lie. With that being said, there's not much in the way of cat fights, but if you've been paying attention, Sweet Fights is back at it again. Our brother and our brother again released a fight which included Nadia. He finally released it. Nadia White versus Bella Gypsy, a short fight. For people who there's certain things I like how you described it this time. For fans, if you're looking for hardcore stuff, normal cat fights, hate to be bearer of bad news, but he said himself, there's not much. Now, like my friend always says, cat fights are sometimes short and sometimes they go, to a point where they're good and they don't need to be any longer. We'll see what becomes of it. I haven't seen it. There's a few people who have, so
yeah, I haven't seen it or anything either. But yeah, it just sometimes you can have. And I don't like what happened right now, Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers getting hurt
yep,
4 plays in, and it's like,
yep, that's it.
yep, done.
Yeah,
So
I fear that he might be out for the rest of the season. That's a guess on my end. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it didn't look good from what I saw.
mm, so if that's the case, and ankles is one of them things, man, that could be limpy on you for a minute. Like you might think, okay, yeah, you had 1 or 2 days that was good back to back, and on day three, just
So
no.
yeah, so if you're a fan of Sweet Fights, the video it's also out on his Gumroad page. I know that already. So there's that. Saying that, and people is only $13. Usually the man charges about like what 25 to $30, and his Gumroad page is only 13. So and you're getting the pictures and you're getting the behind the scenes stuff. So people take advantage of it while you can. Of course, it's not the greatest. I'm sure there's a winner. I don't know. We'll see. But it's
We'll
there.
see.
So we'll see. He also said that there's going to be two new girls coming up at the end of this month, at some point in the month. So
Mm.
make sure keep your eyes peeled for that.
And wasn't he doing the oil wrestling thing as well, or was he just recruiting for that?
Yeah. Well, the oil wrestling thing was the one that got released with what's her name? With Vivian Fox, with the other lady. I forgot her name already. Kylie Cakes and the other one. Sunny Ray, I'm sorry. That one's still out. That's been out for about a good 2 weeks. I haven't heard anything about any other oil wrestling
Oh,
events
okay.
coming.
Okay.
And then of
Yeah,
course, yeah.
go
And of
ahead.
course the other one that came out was the for people who know the Mexican thing, you've been paying attention. They've had some catfights lately. They're more of a professional wrestling crew. But this one was a good one. This one was Jade versus Santana. For people who don't know Santana from Mexican catfight, that's Santana. So that one was from what I can tell, it was a long it was a long drawn out very good fight. That's just off the trailer. I have
And
to
that
see
was
the
on where?
I think it's called CFL. That's what it's called. CFL. I can't remember it. It's like from
Oh,
Mexico City.
CLF.
CLF.
CLF. Yeah.
My bad. Not the Canadian Football League, the other one. Anyways, yeah.
CLF.
That one took place in Mexico City, so
Mhm.
that one's been selling for a minute. Other than that, there's nothing. But we're not surprised because we're now past Labor Day weekend. So there's, as he said, we're in a dead period, the dead zone. Because as
Yeah,
everyone knows,
usually
yep, go ahead.
September, October, November, December. This is usually right around the dead season where models and everybody start shutting down. I think we'll have now. I will say this. I think it's still been an unusual September because usually in September and October there normally be something, and then once you get past Thanksgiving, you can hang it up. Ain't nothing
Yep,
else between Thanksgiving and New Year's. There's normally nothing else. But this year was yeah, it's easing in a little bit. Um,
agree.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. It's her.
We're trying to fill as much things as possible. As he said, pretty much as he said, this is the dead period. Models are doing their thing, doing their customs, doing their mainly doing customs. If you've been paying attention to most of them,
Yeah.
I guess the friends of the show are going to finally going to have customs on September 24th. That is Reagan Kennedy and Tilly McReese. They're going to get together, so that's interesting.
Mm,
Make sure you get your customs in. I'm going to go ahead and plug it. I know it's not cafe
yes.
worthy, but I wanted to plug it anyways. So
Right.
you make sure you check that out. Another friend of the
Speaking
show.
of Reagan,
Go
speaking of
ahead.
Reagan, you heard any more news about supposed to be the thing that she was supposed to do with Lana?
I have heard absolutely nothing, my guy. It's gone, as you would say, silent. I have heard nothing.
Okay. Okay. Because I know they had talked about they were going to work together, at least from Reagan's standpoint.
Yep.
And but I hadn't heard anything as far as like a definitive date or whatever. I don't think none of that had been said.
Mm-mm. Let
I
me
think
see
they
who
may have
else.
just agreed to something in principle.
I'm wondering what else I can promote. I'm going to, we got to fill some space. I'm going to try to see what I can out.
Dude, today it was struggling because
We're all
like a
struggling.
lot of the talent was either, and I think some of it is man is just to set up on September 11th being a weekend and just
Yeah,
um yeah we just I remember I remember where I was that day. It was just I don't want to go
I
into
do
all
too.
that, but it was just, but I do remember, usually when you have tragedies happen in this community, usually you have things like tribute matches and things of that nature. The only tribute match that I just remember anybody wanting to do anything related in this realm was Valor wanted to do something a while
Yep.
back, you know,
Yep.
for some of the troops that was overseas,
She did.
um,
That didn't
but
go ahead at all.
nobody took her up on that as far as wanting to
Mm-mm,
compete against.
mm-mm.
And I personally think the problem was, and I've come across this with a couple of the models because I'm a big fan of tribute matches. I love doing the tribute. I'll do a tribute match in a heartbeat. I'll produce one in a heartbeat. I think what it comes out to being is I think most models don't understand what all goes into a tribute match.
Mm.
Case in point, especially with what happened in Hawaii, definitely
Yep.
illustrated that point because a lot of times now in ways it can be like this. A lot of times people think if it's a tribute match, then that means I'm giving up my like say if you normally charge, you know, however many, we'll just say a number, $500, 500, $600 for whatever you do.
Uh-huh.
And then people will think, oh well, I'm giving that up in order to do this, in order to sell copies. And so no, that's not how tributes work. You still get your fee. It's just a portion of the proceeds of the sale. It depends. For some people, they'll do all the proceeds or portion of the proceeds, which means whatever's left. But you still got to pay for travel. You know, they ain't like the airlines gonna give you, you know, discounts on it because you see what I'm saying.
Yep.
Gas ain't gonna get be cheaper because so usually with a lot of distribute stuff. Now you have some people that may say, "Well, hey, I may forsake my fee, or I may do have my fee," but that's completely on the person. But normally in a normal tribute situation, the talent and everybody still get paid what they get paid. It's just that a portion of the sales instead of it. going to however they have it set up to the producer to the fighter. A portion of it will go to whatever that cause is. So I think that may be part of it is that people think, oh, if I'm doing it as a tribute, then that means I'm doing this for free. No, that's
No.
not how tributes work. Like case in point, Kansas basketball is going to do a tribute open scrimmage in Illinois. And if you know anything about college basketball, Kansas's coach, Bill Self, was at Illinois before he left to go to Kansas. And he has not been back to Illinois since. And so
Little
he's
known fact.
willingly,
Yeah. Little known fact. He actually was a coach at Oral Roberts at one time before he went to Illinois and now at Kansas. Continue. I just had to throw that in there.
and then when he had Tulsa,
He was at Tulsa.
so
Yes.
he left Oral Roberts to go to Tulsa and then Tulsa to Illinois and then Illinois to gotcha.
Kansas.
I didn't know about the Oral Roberts thing. Okay. So Um, so I think that it's a thing of because the team still has to get there, the team still has to play, and the NCAA will allow them, allow fans to come in if they do it tribute, which means that they're going to take whatever's left over from the team having to travel to get there and all of that. They're going to send that money to Maui,
So is the
because they
game?
still
So is
got
the
to
game?
travel, get the hotel, and get back.
Is the game in Champaign or is it in?
Game is in Champagne. That was
Okay.
the whole point of it.
Okay.
Because it was like, yeah, the first time being in Assembly Hall. He called it Assembly Hall. He said, well, it's no longer, it's whatever, State Farm Arena or whatever it's
State
called
Farm Arena.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assembly Hall is at University of Indiana, as we all know.
Well, there
Plymouth.
was two. There was one,
Yep.
Illinois and Indiana for years were both known as Assembly Hall.
Oh, okay.
It's just the
Okay.
one that Illinois just now got. Now, Indiana was the more famous of the two, but
Correct.
Illinois finally sold their naming rights to Assembly Hall. Matter of
Oh,
fact, the coach made a joke of it because Bill Self, when he left, it was still Assembly Hall. Yeah,
it
I
was.
don't, if I'm, gracing the sidelines again of Assembly Hall, and the coach made a joke. He said, well, coach, if you had kept up, nowadays it's no longer called Assembly Hall. It's
Now
called,
State Farm Arena, as you said.
I think it's State Farm something center or something. Yeah,
Yeah, State
yeah.
Farm Center. I'm sorry. State Farm Arena is in
Yeah,
Atlanta. My bad. That's Atlanta
yeah.
Hawks. Had the
I
wrong.
mean, yeah, they have different names, like just like how you had American Airlines Center, and American Airlines Arena at one point with the Mavericks and the Heat.
It still
So
is. It's still confusing because, like I said, one's a center and one's arena. And now, what is the Miami? Miami Heat? They changed their name to something. It used.
it's
Well, no.
FTX Arena.
Thank you, FTX. Thank you. But
Yeah.
anyways, for people who are college basketball fans, there's only 48 days. If you like college basketball, 48 days until college basketball season start. Man, we're getting busy. You got college football, NFL football, hockey's coming around the corner, college basketball
Mhm.
too. Yeah, the
Yeah.
next 3 months is gonna be mad,
Hmm.
literally. Speaking of
Yeah.
stuff, man, my man busy. So we got some time to kill, I guess. So let's see.
Well, we
I
know
know
Israel and Zion lost down there in
who.
Australia. Israel Asanya,
Oh, yeah, Israel Sonic got beat. Who did he get beat by? I forgot. I
some
haven't looked at the
dude.
highlight.
Some
I know
dude
it
that
was
was the
Shelton.
last minute that he asked specifically for him to replace the guy he was supposed to fight, and
Ah,
he ended up getting.
what's the word you say? Sometimes
It was like the
requesting your money
biggest.
is
It
not a
was the
good thing.
biggest
Sometimes.
upset. It was the biggest upset from a money standpoint in UFC
Mm.
history because the guy was like a 401 dog.
Whew. That's like you do horse racing. You pick a horse that's like 500 to 1, and he wins the race.
Right.
Whew. Wow. So Israel
So
other side, the side bender got beat. That's surprising to me.
yeah, well, it was the style, and I don't think Izzy was ready. I just don't think he was ready.
He had an off day,
It's
off
just
night.
it is. Yeah, I think he had an off night, but we'll see.
Ladies and
Um,
gentlemen, that's why it's called sports. You have an off night, you
on
get
that
beat
day, you got,
on that
and
day.
this is not like basketball, baseball, where okay, well we
No,
can just get ready for this game, man.
no, 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 no.
Combat sports, on that day, you got to be ready. If you ain't ready,
You taking an L.
it's you might lose, you might get
And
beat on that
and
day.
like you
You
said,
have to be
and
ready.
yep. And like you all said, combat sports and boxing are in the same that when it comes to fighting, it's like 3 months or 4 months before you see another fight, before you fight again. It's not
Right.
like you fight, like you said, a week or two
All
weeks, like
right.
you said,
Next week we
2 months.
go. Now there's some leagues and some federations that will let you fight a week after, but as long as you clear medical protocols. But because we've seen it where like Nate Diaz has done it a couple of times, and a couple other cats where they fought somebody and then somebody else drops out, and then 2 weeks later they're fighting again. You know,
True.
and on short because they're still kind of in shape, fight shape.
Correct.
You know, it's all right. Well, and they'll jump in and take the butt-in. So
Like you said, when you say
we've seen that happen.
you're exactly right. When it comes to combat sports, that it's very important to be in shape, man. Very.
Especially if it was one of them situations where you won in the first round in the first 30 some seconds. And you felt like, okay. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Masvidal, when he had the thing when he knocked out Ben Askren, I think it was,
Yep.
the 3 seconds in, 4 seconds, 5 seconds in,
5 seconds.
he was
Nothing
still
more than
pissed
five
because he's like,
seconds.
I ain't get the fight. And so I think he ended up, did he not book a fight like 2, 3 weeks later? Because he was like, look,
Correct.
I'm still in shape. I can, and
Yeah,
somebody
three
didn't
weeks
make,
later.
and then he jumped in and then was able to fight again, right then, it just,
Hey,
yeah.
men of the
So,
people. Dana White, men of the people. The man gives people what they want. I will admit that. That's one thing about him.
uh,
He did. He gives give the people the fight they want.
yeah,
Have
but
you?
man, when he got
Have you
knocked out
taken?
by
Have you taken?
Usman,
Yeah.
I mean,
Have
he
you
got
taken
caught. That head
Uzman?
snap back went. I was like, yep, like, yep, yeah.
So you
But
do you feel? I think I saw something with Ngannou. Who was it? I saw something with Ngannou and some. Is Ngannou trying to do a boxing fight with Fury or something? I saw something.
yeah, something like that. They was trying. I think what
Yeah.
happened is the MMA guys are realizing how much money is in boxing, and they're like, man, if they could just get a piece, because they know one good boxing match will set them up. That's about 8 to 10. Now,
Yep.
UFC is steadily climbing, or Endeavor, or whatever you want to call it, TKO. The
Go
name
say.
but it still haven't gotten to boxing levels yet.
Yep.
But I think, in my personal opinion, I still think we're another generation away from that.
Okay.
Um, just because boxing has such a further head start.
Right.
If you had started both boxing as we know it and MMA at the same time, then
Uh-huh.
then I think we're talking about different. But because boxing is so farther along, because
Mhm.
you going back to the 1800s when
Yep.
you start talking about boxing, so it's so
Yep.
much more ingrained in people.
Yep.
Um, people that don't even know nothing about fighting, but they know, oh, that's boxing match. Oh, okay, it's supposed to be an event. UFC hasn't quite gotten to that yet, but once they
Mhm.
do, but they're catching up. When you have people like Ronda Rousey and up on, your Conor McGregor's, you need those type of stuff, those level stars that's almost as big as boxing stars. Can we have Conor McGregor, Irish Risky, Irish 12? You need that because back then you had Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? You got all these boxers,
Right.
that was being able to be pitchmen, Sugar Ray Leonard, all this stuff. You need your UFC fighters, and so I think eventually it'll get there. But I think 'cause as long as you got people like the Paul brothers who can go out there and
Oh
just
my god. Funny stuff. Since we're on
and
the yeah, go ahead.
the Paul
Go ahead.
brothers, I think, is showing the best and the worst, in my
Correct.
personal opinion,
Agree. Agree.
because people are sitting there looking at it. They say, "Wait a minute, you got these two dudes who are essentially dudes, YouTube stars, getting in the boxing ring and knocking out folk, but then they're knocking out MMA folk,
Exactly.
beating MMA folks who have some boxing skills and striking skills, but they're not per se boxers. They fight real life boxers. So boxers try to use it and say, well, this is a way to show how boxing is more serious than MMA. But MMA is one of them disciplines. You can't just decide to wake up tomorrow, I want to be an MMA artist, get up in there and think you're gonna beat folks. You know,
Fact.
it's weird because you can jump into boxing,
Uh-huh.
and then we've seen it with celebrity boxing. You know, you could jump into box. Now, granted, it's a lot of work. 3 minutes around going full speed to tire
Yep.
you out quickly. It's quite a workout.
It
But I
is.
think boxing is one on one because all it takes is one punch.
Yep.
I catch you
That's it.
with one punch. That's it.
That's
That's
it.
it. I catch you.
Lights
That's
out.
it.
Good night.
Whereas
Night night.
MMA, you have to be a little bit more skilled because it could be a punch, it could be a kick, it could be. a body blow. It could be all
Yep.
kind of stuff. You can
Yep.
submit it, lock a hold, in the ground game. It could
Correct.
be takedown defense. It's so many other things you got to watch for
Yep.
that I think it's harder. Yeah, it's harder to get in thinking that okay, I'm just gonna wake up in the morning and be an MMA fighter
Yep.
and to do it. But yeah, so it's
Yep.
different.
You're exactly right, man. I was about to ask you, in your opinion, I know boxing has gone down compared to MMA, and what do you think the reason is? Is it because of promoters? Is it because of fighters, or a combination of both?
It has a lot to do with it. It is a little bit of everything. I think part of it is that you had the promoters and the fighters ducking folks and building up all
Mhm.
these records and not really having fought nobody. Whereas Dana wasn't going to let that happen. And I think that's what helped the popularity of UFC. Because people want to see folks get knocked out. When it's all said and done, we don't care if it's boxing, MMA, folks like to see people get knocked out. No telling, more telling point. And I will remember this as long as I have breath in my body. UFC 100.
Yep.
Of that first big card where they had, I think Brock Lesnar fought Frank
Yep.
Mir, I think it was.
Yes. Lesnar Mir.
Michael
Yes.
Fought
Michael Bisping.
Bisping fought Henderson. I think
Correct.
it was
Dan
Dan
Henderson.
Henderson.
Yeah, it was Dan
And then there
Henderson.
was another John Bones was like on that card, but he was like way down in the card.
He was like the undercard, way
Yeah,
undercard.
he was in the undercard, but there was another third main event. I can't remember who it was. Man. I can't remember who it was. But anyway,
We know that two.
uh,
There were two big ones. We know that much.
there was three because they they
Yeah,
they
there was
they
two.
for there was three main events, co-main events for this because it was the Bisping fight, the Lesnar fight, and it was somebody else. I don't know, was
Correct.
Alistair Overeem or something. I can't remember. Anyway,
I think it was
or
Overeem. It was. I think it was him. I forgot who he fought though, but it was him.
you was just saying it because I said it, or you don't know.
I'm just
Just say
saying
you
because
don't know.
I
I
don't
just
know.
remember. I don't remember who was the third major card. It could have been
Carry on.
Overeem. It could have been Alvin Anderson Silva. I don't remember who was the third. It was
Yeah, matter.
three of them.
Carry on. Carry on.
So I just remember. So I was in Newport News, Virginia. I'm with my ex-wife, and
Interesting.
this was back when Buffalo Wild Wings used to show the fights, used to show
Oh,
UFC fights, which
yeah,
helped.
that's
I
true.
think there was another group that helped in getting in with the national chain that could show your stuff.
Yep.
So, um, and I remember, and part of the reason why Buffalo Wild Wings and Hooters eventually as well, they stopped doing it because what folks would do is they they would show up. So pay per view doesn't start till 10.
Yep.
These folks would show up like 11 in the morning. Would sit there. And I've seen people do this. All they did is sit there and order a Coke and literally sit there for 12 hours. They
Yeah.
might order food once, maybe just before the main event starts. 'Cause
Dang.
back then they didn't show the prelims. There was no TV for the prelims or none of that.
True.
Um, and so these girls would sit there. They make money off of the tables changing over. So now you got these people coming in sitting there. You have a whole restaurant full of people sitting there and nobody's leaving. Nobody's ordering food and nobody's leaving.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So now you're forced to do one or two things. Either you need to charge a cover charge for people to come in, but if you do that, then folks. It was just it was wild. It was wild. So I remember, and I remember telling her, I said, "Babe, we're gonna need to get there early because if we don't, we're not gonna get a seat." Um, and like I said again, the fight started at 10, and this now that particular year, if I'm not mistaken, they were starting to show prelims for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The first time they were showing prelims, so
Mm-hmm.
the prelims started like 7.
Uh-huh.
We showed up. We left the house at 4. We got there about 4:30. It's already packed out.
Dang.
We're just sitting by the waiting area, waiting for a seat. We never got one. We never got a booth until after the pay per view was over and people was leaving. We never got. uh, that tells you. And so we're sitting there, and my ex knows nothing about everybody. She couldn't tell you a fighter. She couldn't tell that. Man, when Bisping got knocked out by Dan Henderson, this little 5'4", 110-pound woman literally jumped out of the chair on top of, it's like one of them little waiting ledges. So she jumped up, jumped on top of it, hands up in the air, straight up in the air, and it was like the most excited thing ever. And I looked, I was like, the look of shock on my face. I'm like, she know, but the fact that she's and how the whole place just came electric. Well, and of course, Bisping being the British guy, Henderson being the American guy,
Mhm. Bless you.
go USA. This why I need my water. But if I'm not mistaken, it was like on July 4th weekend too.
Yep.
Yeah, so you got this whole that whole thing going on, and I just remember she was just so excited. I was just like, "Who is this woman, Harpo? Who is this woman?" So it was just so that's what I'm saying. People just like seeing folks get knocked out. So and I'm not saying it made her a fan overnight, but she understood more what it was when she saw that. Oh, it's just
Hmm.
like boxing. Somebody get knocked out, everybody get excited. And so I think that's what's helped it on its popularity, the way they market it, the way they promote it. And of course, um, one of the things ironically, this show edition of the show almost could have been put in jeopardy because I did not realize that tonight Raw is actually in Norfolk, Virginia, where I'm at right now.
Ah.
And yeah, so Raw, but this is the last day that the McMahon family would have owned 100% of a wrestling territory because as of tomorrow, it goes over to Endeavor, TKO. So McMahon's cut will go from 100% to 16% after the show goes off
Wow.
of air tonight
Wow.
at
That's
midnight.
come. Wow. That's mad.
And his last show was in Norfolk, of all places. Now, granted, I ain't gonna lie to you. I hate this card. This card was not very good. It's like, dude, the prices, the ticket prices. The cheapest ticket was $20. Like the whole 200 section on the TV side was $200. I mean, it was $20. $20.
That's
The
cheap.
most
That's cheap these
expensive,
days.
the most expensive ticket left was 350 on the floor. 350, third row.
Hmm. And you said the car. You felt the car was absolutely terrible.
Yes, I'm looking at the card. It's like it's just. I'm not saying that they melded in for this last one, but I'm just like, it's almost like reflective of the price because it's not a sellout, not at all. Wasn't a sellout. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Yeah, it just
Was it even half? Was it even half full? That's the question I'm going to ask.
okay, yeah. I mean, of course, the way they're gonna shoot it, they're gonna make it look like it's always full, but they're not doing that big sweep. Like when like Seth Rollins come out, uh, um, 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 Cody Rhodes come out,
Yep.
Shinsuke. You know how they show that big wide bowl. None of
Yep.
that tonight so far. No, 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 no. No. Especially the upper sections. No, they no, no. So yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was now the ticket and fees and stuff. So let's say if you bought the $20 ticket, by the time you would have paid the fees, it would have came out to 37. So the fees itself was almost as much as the ticket itself.
That's crazy.
Man,
Oh man.
so it's like I was like, this is sad. This is sad for Norfolk because usually Norfolk gets a house show. They don't
Mm.
get live shows. They know that
Gotcha.
it's been a minute since they got a house show. But with it being September 11th, the military presence, I was looking for a little bit more. I ain't seen none of it yet. Maybe they did something after this last hour and a half after we got on air, but they just hadn't. Yeah, it just.
Yeah,
But
truth be told,
so
we're pretty much wrapping up the show, people. There is nothing. Let's be serious. We're gonna keep it real with y'all
I
because
mean, your
there's
beloved
nothing to talk about.
Cowboys shooting on to a 40-0 win against the Giants, and
We
folks
can talk
losing
about
their
that.
mind.
We can talk about that
Folks,
right now if you want to, or you want to wait on
folks
that.
losing their mind about that. I'm
Which
like,
one?
look, about the Cowboys going 40-0, and then oh my
All right.
God, we're going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, just
Okay.
one more
Okay.
game.
Dallas Cowboy fans, listen to me and listen to me carefully. We did what we supposed to do. We won our game. Let's calm down on the Super Bowl champs. We haven't done anything yet. For us, we haven't done nothing. Not a dang thing. I'll repeat myself. Nothing. We've done nothing. Uh, People, the best way to judge the Dallas Cowboys is what they do when they get to the playoffs. And knowing the regular season, we're always a team that's going to win 12 or 13 games in the regular season. I'm not worried about the regular season. I want to see what we do when in the playoffs, especially when we play better teams in the playoffs. Because as everybody has to know, the Cowboys haven't done anything in 30 years. 30 years, people. 3-0. 30 years. I was like 10. That's the last time Dallas won the Super Bowl. Don't come to talk to me about, oh, the Dallas beat these people 40-0. Dallas defense was great. Dallas defense was great. Giants were just as poor. Giants were abysmal yesterday.
I think
Period.
in New York is just abysmal altogether because now with the way Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and I don't know what the score is. I hadn't seen. I know
I'll
it was
tell you.
3-3 the last I see.
Nope, it's
What
more
the
than that. 13
what
and 6. Bills
who's
13,
winning?
Jets 6.
Bills 13.
Buffalo's winning. It's an
So
ugly.
let's say let's say the game ends and Bills win 20-6 or whatever, 27-6.
Yep.
What the talk is going to be, if anything, this is going to diminish the
Yep.
Cowboys win because now it's going to talk about being how cursed it is being a fan of New York.
Yep.
That's what the narrative is going to be because the narrative is not going to be that the Cowboys came in there, smoked them, and then Aaron Rodgers get hurt. So it's going to be about, oh, woe is us as being New York fans,
Yep.
being a fan of a team in New York because the
Yep.
Giants get smoked and Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 plays in. It's like our luck.
And ironically, we're playing the Jets next week too. How funny is that? We're playing them on Sunday, and we're more than likely not playing against him for sure.
Oh, so I listened to, oh God, who was it? It was like Richard Sherman, right? Was just going in, right? Come on.
Who's your
Well, you
Sherman?
gonna be playing incredible defense next week, and then talking about with Aaron Rodgers. At this rate, Aaron Rodgers might not play this week either. And then, oh my God, oh here we go. And then they smoked them too. This would not be conductive. It just,
Yeah,
yeah,
like I said,
it's a
Dallas
mess.
Cowboys fans, my suggestion to
It's
you
a mess.
guys, and I'm a Cowboy fan forever. Let's call our Jets, people. We did what we're supposed to do. We're supposed
Y'all
to beat the
played
Giants.
y'all played the 49ers what, week 4, week 5?
Week 5. We have
That's
the
when
Jets, we have the Cardinals, and then we have the
yeah,
Patriots, then the 49ers. Week 5, people, the Cowboy
week 5
fans,
is when
pay
the
attention.
season starts.
Week 5 starts. Exactly. The season starts in week
Because
5.
you don't want to be where it comes down to whether you get the host of NFC Championship game because you lost to the 49ers. Don't let that be the case. Because I think both of y'all will be undefeated going into that game. I think
This
both
is
of y'all
true.
be 4-0 going
You're
into
right.
that game.
It's definitely possible
And
because right
where's the
now,
game at? Is the game in San
Santa Clara.
Francisco? Santa
Yes,
Clara?
sir.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Ooh. That's gonna be rough.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Both years we played them. It don't matter if they won. It don't matter if the game was in AT&T or Santa Clara. We lost both. Doesn't matter. So basically, right now, San Francisco was tougher than us. We didn't execute on offense. Last year we had a chance to beat them, but my quarterback decided to throw
San
two
Francisco
interceptions.
went. San Francisco went up to Pittsburgh and beat. That's not
They
a,
beat them.
to the
They
point
beat
where
the
you
Seahawks
had
out of
Mike Tomlin said, "Yeah, we got punch in the mouth. We in respond." What? A Mike Tomlin team say that? Man, team say that?
the one thing I like about Mike Tomlin, he told the truth. He was right. They did not show up. They got
He would not.
slapped.
Well, he
Like you
is not
said,
gonna lie on you.
San Francisco was a bully, as you would say. Go in there and just punch them. And he's exactly right. Pittsburgh did
And
not
the
show up.
Eagles had the game won. They could have won in a route, but they Hurts fumbled the ball, and then you gave
Mac
New
Jones.
England the chance to try to get back in it, but Mac Jones, they still didn't get it done. But my
How you feel about
beloved
your
Saints,
yeah? How
hey,
you feel about your
we
Saints?
hey look, now granted, it is disturbing that we only scored 16 points, given that
Damn.
you got 3 interceptions and you sacked Tannehill 3 times. Like really, and we only scored 16 points with Derek Carr. Now granted, ain't nobody saying it's gonna be pretty. I still believe we're going 12-5, and
Okay.
and our record gonna look good. But when you sit there and look at, we ain't beat nobody. It's gonna be almost like how people talked about what was it, Minnesota last
Minnesota
year.
last year.
How Minnesota was, but Minnesota did the same thing last year, beating up on all these bad teams, and then when they finally played somebody worth something, like the Bills, they lose. It's just like because we don't play the Cowboys, we don't play the Eagles, we don't play the 49ers.
Actually, you do play the Eagles week 2. Oh, not you, Minnesota. I'm
Mm,
sorry. Go ahead.
mm.
Bye bye.
No, I'm talking about the Saints. We don't play
Oh,
them three. So that's why I'm saying it's like,
that's a
who are
good
we going
point.
to say we done beat?
True. That is
I
a good
mean,
point.
if you look
Who
at,
have that?
we got the AFC South. The toughest team I know we played in the first couple of weeks is like the Jaguars or something. We played
Yep.
Jaguars or something.
Yep.
Yeah,
AFC South is
outside
rough.
of that, I'm like, we got to play the Colts, the Texans, and the Titans we just beat. Done.
Who-
That's it.
What's your other division? Who's your other division playing against?
We're playing the NFC, AFC South.
What else? There's another division. Aren't you playing like the NFC West or the NFC?
We're playing
The
the
NFC North
NFC North. We got the North, which means we got the Bears, we got the Packers, we got the Lions,
and the
and we
Vikings.
got the Vikings.
You know
We
what?
the Vikings we seem to lose to. The Lions I think is going to be good. The Bears and
Yep.
the Packers, one's a rookie quarter, one's a first year starter. So I mean, it just
You know
I think
what?
we get to week 3, so we got to catch them early. They look good
Yep.
yesterday.
Who? The
It's the
Packers.
Bears. They beaten the Bears 10 years, 10 times
The
in a row.
Bears have
Yeah,
not improved at all. The Bears look like trash. I'm not trying to disrespect Jordan Love. Good performance, Jordan Love. I give you your props. You had a good performance. But my
well,
lord,
you see when you play the Saints. The Saints got a defense for real, and so
like a
we're gonna
boy.
see. That's what I'm saying. It just, I think everybody gonna get hype about the Saints, and the Saints. I'm like, the Saints ain't beat nobody, and I'm
It's
gonna be
true.
sitting here. I'm gonna be the canary in the coal mine, and I put it on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it, so it'll be on wax. So and I tag the Saints on it, so people can't sit there and say, "Well, Paul, you just said that." No, 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 no. I said this before kickoff. Kansas
Yep.
City and Detroit. No, I put it on wax. I put it on paper. They're gonna go 12-5, probably be the 2 seed, and then mess around and lose to the 7 seed. I said that's the only thing. If they can win that game, then they might. To be honest, anything after that would be crazy. They just got to win the first game because it's Derek Carr, it's Dennis Allen. I'm not expecting if you got to because if you win the first game, then that means you is going to be you probably between San Francisco, the Eagles, and the Cowboys left,
Correct.
and you're not clearly better than any one of those 3 teams.
Correct. I
You're
agree.
just
For,
not.
for, for
You
my
see what I'm
Cowboys,
saying? I
yeah,
get it. I understand where we at. You just not. Depending on where the game is, and depending on who's let's see who's healthy and who else is the healthiest by that point, whether
yep,
we got a shot to win. But I mean,
yep. For my
I'm
Cowboys,
just
I'm going the same way. I'm going the same record as you. We're going 12-5. I think we'll be behind the Eagles because the Eagles, I look at their schedule. Oh my lord, their schedule gets difficult at the end because they got to play the Bills, they got to play the Cowboys, they got to play the Chiefs. Have you seen Eagles? The end of their schedule, their end of schedule is brutal. They got to go to Seattle, they got to play the Bills, they got to play the Chiefs, they got to play the Cowboys twice. who made their schedule at the end? Man. But anyways, I feel like Philadelphia will be 13-4. I think they'll be 13-4 this year because the beginning of the schedule is cake. Their schedule at the beginning of the schedule is ridiculous. Ridiculously easy, that is. I'm sorry.
I really think is everybody keep leaving out the Saints, but I think the Saints gonna get double. I think there's only gonna be 4 teams with double-digit win. It's gonna
I
be
agree.
the Eagles, the Saints, the Cowboys, and the 49ers.
Yep.
And if you any one of them other three, the Saints, we're distant fourth. We're fourth, but we're distant fourth. You just want to make sure you don't have to beat 2 of them to get. You want everybody gonna want to play the Saints. Everybody gonna want the Saints to come to their spot.
True.
So,
So
like I
yeah,
said, God forbid. Now, with the Eagles and the Cowboys, since they're in the same division, one
yep,
is going to be a 1 seed and the
yeah.
other
That's gonna
one's
be a
going to
fun.
be the 5
Yep,
by default.
correct,
It's going to be the
correct,
5. So you're going to have one of them two teams going to be the 5 seed with 11, 12 wins. And that's what I'm saying.
correct.
It would be the Saints' luck to mess around because then you're going to have what's the one division that we didn't count? The North?
The North,
Because right, so somebody's got to win the North. So let's say that's um Detroit. That's who I
yep,
think is going to be finalists.
yeah. I think it's
Win the
right.
division, which
Yep,
they would just be over the moon just to win the division. They'll win the division, mess around, but the reward is they'll have to play the Eagles and the Cowboys.
correct.
They'll have to play either the Eagles or the Cowboys in the playoffs,
Yep.
and
Oof.
it just that could be it. That could be ugly. Um,
Oof.
I think the Saints would. So that means the Saints will be no worse than the 3 seed. But I think the Saints are going to be the 2 seed because I think This is me. I think San Francisco will get the 1 seed
I
because
agree.
they got Arizona, who's abysmal. They got the Rams, who they're still trying to put it together.
Uh-huh.
You got the Seahawks, who is halfway
Oof.
decent that they'll
Yep.
have to deal with. But other than that, the AFC they could go. Um, they can go through, get that 1 seed. Saints get the 2 seed. Whoever wins between the Eagles and Cowboys get the 3 seed. Detroit with the 4 seed, and that loser
Yeah.
gets the 5th seed. And they
Yep.
mess around. So I think we'll
I,
mess around, get the 2 seed, play Minnesota, and then we mess around and lose because it's Minnesota. Minnesota been having our number ever since we beat them to go to the Super Bowl with Brett Favre. They've had our number. We have not beaten them in the playoffs
facts. And you played twice. Facts. True.
twice. So
The last one was
I,
that miracle Minneapolis. That one.
and then you had the one with Kirk Cousins and them led them down the field.
Yep.
Um, there's another one. There's with Kyle Rudolph threw the ball
Yep.
to Kyle Rudolph and scored a
Yep.
touchdown to win the game. I was like, God
Yep.
dog it. So that's what
Yep.
I'm saying. We had Minnesota's had our number. Minnesota's been rough. So
Just like
um,
Minnesota has your number, San Francisco has ours. We played them twice. We've lost to them twice. San Francisco is our kryptonite. We have to find a way to beat these guys. So for me, our season is not good. If we don't make the NFC Championship game, the season is a disappointment. I don't want to hear about the divisional rounds. I don't want to hear about no wild card. Get to the NFC Championship game. That's all I care for. One step
yeah.
first. That's how I feel. If we don't get to the championship game, this is a failure. I don't want to hear about, oh, Dallas
We
had a
have
great
to
season, blah,
win.
blah, blah.
Win the division not going to be good enough for the Saints. The Saints have to win
Agreed.
and then at least win the home playoff game
Mhm.
because they'll win the division. You just got to win the home
They
playoff
will.
game.
Yeah, they'll definitely
You
win the
got to win the
division.
home playoff game unless you're the 4 seed. Let's say the Saints just stink it up. Let's say Derek
10 and
Carr be
7,
what he is, which is a 500 quarterback. But let's say
9 and 8.
Derek Carr, we end up being 9-8, winning the
Oof.
division, but we're 9-8.
Oh boy.
Which means we definitely be the 4 seed and we play either the Eagles and the Cowboys. And we getting smoked. Game is over. Game is over. If we're the 4 seed in the playoffs, we win the division, we're the 4 seed. Game is over. Game is over. We're done.
If I'm the Saints, I'd rather not be the 4 seed. If I'm the Saints, I'd rather be 2 or 3. You have a better matchup
I
if you play
don't want to
someone
be the
who's
two
well.
seed. I don't want to be the 2 seed because I'm telling you, the Saints will mess around, be the 2 seed, and will play a team like Minnesota. Because whoever would play the 7 seed is a team that had to get in at the very end, and it's probably
True,
at that point playing their best football. Usually,
true,
it's hard to backdoor your way into the playoff unless you're like Washington. It's hard to backdoor your way into the playoffs.
true.
Usually, you get there because you had to win 3 of your last 4 to get in.
Right,
And
correct.
then when you have a team like the Saints, where you look at the back half of our schedule, and nobody scares you. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? We've
Yeah,
come across a team that now they're ready to play some meaningful football, and it's in the dome, and we'll mess around, we get smoked, and then there
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
I
My
would
team's
rather
perfect.
be
Easy.
the 3 seed at this point.
Okay,
Now, the 2 seed, you can say, well, if you're the 2 seed, then that means you get to host the next
two
round at
games.
home.
True.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't care if it was the 49ers as currently constituted, 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys, I think all three
Yeah,
of them could come in New Orleans and beat New Orleans in New Orleans.
true.
If any of them was the 3 seed. I truly believe that.
I agree.
Detroit, I don't think so. Detroit, I don't think can come in there and beat New Orleans in a playoff game
They're not
atmosphere.
ready yet. They're not ready
A
yet.
playoff, the one that would hurt the least is if they played the Eagles and lost to the Eagles in that round.
Okay.
Just because the Eagles, we beat the Eagles last year. We had no business beating the Eagles last year. We beat them. Like what was it? In December, we beat them. I was like, how in the
December
world we beat the Eagles? Yeah,
20 to
yeah.
10.
With Andy Dalton, the quarterback. I like y'all just didn't have it. That the Eagles didn't have it that day,
They did
but
not.
we had no business beating the Eagles that game. But I think that's because the Saints we don't have such an attachment, so the Eagles wouldn't hurt. If we would have lost to the Cowboys just because of the proximity and how Louisiana is. You got Cowboys fans, you got Saints fans. You got the 3 percenters as Redskins, well, Commanders fans. But everybody, the Cowboys and Saints fans, oh my God, it's just.
Yep.
And then to lose to San Francisco will only hurt if you're an old school Saints fan like me that remember the old school NFC West when it was
Yep.
us, the Falcons, Carolina, and well, even before Carolina showed up, the Rams and the 49ers. I remember
Correct.
there was a 13-year stretch. The Saints did not beat San Francisco in San Francisco for like 13 years.
Whew.
Like when Montana was young, we could not beat them in San Francisco. Oh God, no! Every now and again we beat them in New Orleans, but we could not beat San Francisco in San Francisco. It was like a 13-year stretch or something between.
Yeah,
I
because
think
Joe
Bobby
Montana retired.
Abraham was quarterback or something like that. Bobby
He just got
Abraham.
worse. Joe Montana retires. Here comes Steve Young. You still can't beat them.
We still could be. We still could be beating San Francisco in San Francisco. Oh no, that was no. That was just like the Titans trying to beat Indianapolis in Indianapolis. They couldn't beat them with Peyton. They couldn't beat them with Andrew Luck. They had to wait till whoever came. I forgot who Jim Sorgi or whoever came after Andrew Luck. They messed around. No,
Chiefs.
no. I think they lost a year. Peyton got hurt, but they hadn't drafted Andrew Luck because they was so bad that Andrew Luck ended up drafting. Yeah, so they won that one time in that whole.
Chiefs, Georgie. Oh my God. I forgot about him. I forgot he was a
Yeah, so
quarterback.
it
All
was
right,
it was
people. Go ahead. I'll let you finish your point. We're
the fact that
wrapping,
we
man.
mentioned Jim Sorgi on the Catfight podcast tells you all you need to know. That's
Dude,
how little news we
this
had
is how
today.
little it is. Anyways, we're wrapping, people. We're coming up upon 50 minutes. I don't know how we stretch out 50 minutes, but we
I
did.
don't know
With
how
that
we
being
did it
said,
today either.
with that being said, I'm gonna let this man roll his credits in. We have business to
Okay.
restore.
Da, da, da.
Yes. Clem underscore Kufa on IG and Clem Kufa on Twitter.
And I am switch. Pause
He can
level
be
on
reached by
Twitter.
player also.
Well, I just need to change this to X since it's
You know what?
remind me
Yeah,
to change it
you
to X.
might as well. You might as well go and change this to X. There's no more 20 anymore, not just straight X.
Yeah. The artist formerly known as Twitter.
I'll give you
Yeah.
time to do
So
that before I even end this show. With that being said, our next show is going to be 5 day. It's going to be September 25th. Is it September 30 days? Yeah. So 5 days before the end of the month is our next show on
yep.
the same channel, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, 8:30 Central time, 7:30 for you Mountain Time Zone people, and yes, 6:30 for you Pacific Time Zone people. With that being said, my name is Clement Kufo for my guy Klaus Webb. We are out. See you guys in 2 weeks.
All right. Bye.
Good night, everyone.